In a small village by the sea, there lived a fisherman named Jack. Every morning, before the sun rose, Jack would set out on his boat to cast his net into the calm, cool waters. But what secrets did the sea hold for him? Stay tuned to find out on Innocent Stories. The village was peaceful, and the people were kind, but Jack always felt a little apart. His wife, Linda, had passed away many years ago, and since then, Jack had been raising his only daughter, Precious, who had a disability. Precious needed regular treatments at the village clinic, and Jack made sure to be by her side through it all. But life in the village wasn't always easy. Jack had remarried a woman named Mabel, and things were different now. Mabel was strict and often angry, especially with Precious. Jack found himself tiptoeing around her, always afraid to upset her. He often kept things from Mabel. Can you guess what happens when a mysterious stranger enters Jack's life? Keep watching to uncover the magic on Innocent Stories. One morning, as Jack was out fishing, he noticed something strange in his net. It felt heavier than usual, and when he pulled it up, it wasn't full of fish, but instead, there was a woman, pale, unconscious, and tangled in the net. His heart skipped a beat. Was she alive? Quickly, he untangled her, checking to see if she was breathing. To his relief, the woman coughed and opened her eyes. She looked confused, her long hair covering her face. Jack helped her sit up. "Are you okay?" Jack asked, but the woman didn't answer. She just stared around, clearly lost and frightened. "I should take you to the clinic," Jack suggested, worried that she might be hurt. But the woman shook her head frantically, her eyes wide with fear. No clinic," she whispered. Jack was puzzled. Why didn't she want help? But he saw the fear in her eyes and knew she needed to be hidden. He couldn't take her back to the village, especially not with Mabel always watching. Jack made a decision. "I know a place," he said softly. "It's far from the village. You can stay there and rest until you feel better." With that, he carefully helped the woman into his boat and rowed her to a small farmhouse, hidden deep in the bush, far from the village. Jack had built the farmhouse for himself many years ago, a quiet place where he could escape. Now, it would be a secret place for the mysterious woman who seemed so lost and scared. Jack made sure the woman was comfortable and promised he would return soon. He quickly left the farmhouse and went to pick up his daughter, Precious, from the clinic. Precious, who had a disability, needed regular dialysis treatments, and Jack didn't want to miss a visit. When he arrived home, Precious noticed he was distracted. "Daddy, is something wrong?" she asked, her curious eyes watching him closely. Jack hesitated before answering. "I met someone today. I found her in my net out at sea. She doesn't remember who she is, and she's afraid of people." Precious thought for a moment, then smiled. "Maybe she's like one of the creatures from the stories you always tell me. You know, like a mermaid or a selkie. Maybe she's magical." Jack gave a nervous laugh, though part of him wondered if his daughter might be right. Could the woman be a mermaid? He wasn't sure, but he had to be careful. If Mabel found out about her, he feared she might cause trouble. After Jack took Precious back to the house, he slipped away to the farmhouse. He needed to make sure the woman was okay. When he arrived, the woman was sitting quietly by the fire, staring into the flames. Her eyes were full of sadness, and she looked at Jack as though she recognized him. "Thank you," she whispered softly. "I don't know who I am, but I know you've been kind to me." Jack sat down beside her, his heart softening. "I'll help you," he promised. "You can stay here as long as you need." But Jack knew the secret couldn't stay hidden for long. He had to be careful. Mabel was quick to anger, and if she found out he was hiding someone, especially someone like this woman, there would be trouble. Jack had to sneak away to visit her whenever he could, making sure Mabel never found out. Over the next few weeks, Jack continued to visit the woman in the farmhouse, bringing her food and supplies. Each time, he told her little about his life, but he couldn't help but feel a strange connection to her. Something about her seemed otherworldly, and he began to wonder if she truly might be a mermaid or some magical creature, like Precious had said. One quiet evening, Jack made his way to the little farmhouse, hidden in the bush. The air was cool, and the stars sparkled brightly in the sky. He carried a small basket of food for the mysterious woman he had been hiding for weeks. As he opened the door, he found her sitting near the fire, her long hair shining in the light. She looked at him with kind, curious eyes. "You look troubled, Jack," she said softly. Jack sighed deeply and sat down on a stool near her. "I don't know what to do," he admitted. "I don't have enough money for Precious's treatment this week. I've been fishing every day, but the sea has not been kind. The catches are small, and the money barely lasts." The woman tilted her head, her gaze thoughtful. For a moment, she was silent. Then she spoke, her voice calm and clear. "Don't worry, Jack," she said. "When you go to the sea tomorrow, call my name, Amiri, 3 times. The sea will hear you, and you will have a big catch." Jack blinked in surprise. "Amiri? That's your name?" The woman nodded slowly, her lips curving into a gentle smile. "Yes, my name is Amiri. Trust me, Jack. The sea knows me." Jack wasn't sure what to think. Her words sounded strange, almost magical, but something about her calmness made him believe her. "All right," he said finally. "I will do as you say." The next morning, Jack woke up before the sun, as always. He prepared his fishing gear and headed to the sea. As the waves lapped gently at his boat, he thought about Amiri's words. Could calling her name really help? It sounded impossible, but Jack had nothing to lose. When he reached the middle of the sea, where the water was deep and quiet, Jack stood up in his boat. He took a deep breath and called out, "Amiri." At first, nothing happened. The sea remained still. But then, as Jack prepared to lower his net, the water began to stir. Fish, hundreds of them, suddenly filled the water around his boat. Jack's eyes widened in amazement. He cast his net, and when he pulled it up, it was heavy with fish, more than he had ever caught in one trip. He couldn't believe it. Amiri's words had come true. Jack worked quickly, hauling the fish into his boat until it was almost overflowing. By the time he returned to the shore, the villagers gathered around, staring at his catch in awe. "Jack, this is the biggest catch we've seen in years," one of the men said. Jack sold the fish and earned more money than he had ever made in a single day. He felt a deep sense of relief. He now had enough money to pay for Precious's treatment and even more to take home. When Jack returned to his house, he handed some of the money to his wife, Mabel. "This is for food and anything else we need," he said, hoping she would be pleased. But instead of using the money wisely, Mabel spent it on unnecessary things. She bought new clothes, jewelry, and even some decorations for the house. She didn't buy enough food, and she didn't cook meals for the family. When Jack came home from fishing one evening and asked why there was no food, Mabel was furious. "Why are you complaining, Jack?" she snapped. "You always think you know everything. I can spend the money however I like." Jack tried to stay calm, but he couldn't hold back his frustration. "Mabel, this money is for the family. Precious needs proper food, and we need to save for her treatments. You're not thinking about what's important." But Mabel only rolled her eyes and called him names. "You're just a poor fisherman. What do you know about money? If you think you can do better, then why don't you run the house yourself?" Jack felt hurt but didn't say anything more. He didn't want to fight in front of Precious. Instead, he went to the farmhouse to visit Amiri. Being with her always made him feel calm, like a heavy weight was lifted off his shoulders. When he reached the farmhouse that night, he told Amiri about what had happened. "My wife doesn't understand," he said. "I work so hard, but it feels like it's never enough. And Precious, she deserves better than this." Amiri listened quietly, her eyes full of understanding. "Jack," she said softly, "the sea will always help you, as long as you call my name. But you must also find the strength to stand up for what is right. Your daughter needs you to be strong." Jack nodded, her words sinking deep into his heart. One sunny afternoon, Jack came home from the sea with a wide smile on his face. His boat had been full of fish, and he had sold them all at the market. For the first time in years, Jack felt like he was finally getting ahead in life. He had enough money to take care of Precious's treatments, buy food for the house, and even save a little. As he entered the house, he greeted his daughter with a kiss on the forehead. "How are you today, my angel?" he asked, his voice full of love. Precious smiled back at him. "I'm feeling better, Daddy. Did you have a good day at the sea?" Jack laughed and patted her head. "The sea has been very kind to us, Precious. Things are getting better." But as Jack turned to sit down, his wife, Mabel, stood in the doorway, watching him with suspicion. Her arms were crossed, and her face was set in a scowl. "Jack," she said, her tone sharp, "what's going on with you these days?" Jack looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" "You've been coming home happy every day," Mabel said, narrowing her eyes, "and you always have money now. Are you seeing someone? Maybe some sugar mummy who's giving you money? Or are you using charms to make your fishing better?" Jack stared at her, shocked by her words. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "What are you talking about, Mabel? Why would you say such things?" Mabel shrugged and gave him a hard look. "I'm just saying what everyone is thinking. A poor fisherman like you suddenly has so much money? It doesn't make sense." Jack felt his anger rising. He had worked so hard, waking up early every day, calling Amiri's name, and trusting the sea to bless him with good catches. And yet, here was Mabel, accusing him of something ridiculous instead of being grateful. He stood up, his voice shaking with frustration. "Mabel, you are very stupid to say such things. Do you think I enjoy struggling all the time? Do you think I don't want to see my family happy? Why must you always try to make me angry? Can't you be happy that things are finally going well for us?" Mabel's eyes widened at his outburst, but Jack was not finished. "You are so wicked, Mabel," he continued. "Instead of being thankful, you are here accusing me of using charms or seeing another woman. You're a witch, always looking for a reason to cause trouble in this house. Do you even care about our daughter and her needs, or do you only care about yourself?" Mabel's face turned red with anger. "How dare you talk to me like that, Jack? After everything I've done for this family? Everything you've done?" Jack scoffed. "You don't even cook proper meals for this house. The money I give you is spent on nonsense. Precious deserves better than this. She needs a loving, peaceful home, not one filled with your insults and accusations." Precious, hearing the raised voices, called out from her chair. "Daddy, Mama, please don't fight. It makes me sad." Jack immediately softened at the sound of his daughter's voice. He turned to her, his face filled with regret. "I'm sorry, my angel," he said gently. "I didn't mean to upset you." Mabel, however, was not ready to let the matter go. "You think you're so smart, Jack," she said coldly, "but one day, I will find out the truth about where all this money is coming from." Jack didn't reply. He simply walked out of the house, needing to clear his head. He made his way to the farmhouse, where Amiri was waiting. When he arrived, she could see the frustration on his face. "What happened, Jack?" Amiri asked softly. Jack sat down with a heavy sigh. "It's Mabel. She's always looking for a reason to fight. She says I must be using charms or seeing another woman because I've been bringing money home." Amiri frowned but said nothing for a moment. Finally, she spoke, her voice calm and steady. "Jack, your kindness and hard work are what brought you to me. The sea listens to those with good hearts, and you have one. Don't let her words bring you down." Jack nodded, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. Amiri's words always made him feel stronger. "Thank you, Amiri," he said. "I will keep working hard for Precious. She's the reason I do everything." One quiet evening, after a long day of fishing, Jack went to the farmhouse to visit Amiri. The air was cool, and the stars shone brightly in the night sky. Amiri was sitting by the fire, as usual, her long hair flowing like waves. Jack entered and sat down, his eyes soft with curiosity. "Amiri," he began, "I have been coming here for weeks now, and you've helped me so much, but I don't really know anything about you. Who are you? Where did you come from? What happened to you?" Amiri sighed and looked into the fire, her eyes reflecting its glow. She was silent for a moment before speaking, her voice low and full of emotion. I was once part of a small village far from here, she said. I was born with a gift. I could hear the whispers of nature, the wind, the water, the trees. I could sense when the rains would come or when the sea would rise. People used to admire me for it, but as I grew older, their admiration turned to fear. They began to think my gift was unnatural, that it was dangerous. Jack listened intently, his heart heavy as she continued. They called me a witch, Amiri said softly. They said I was cursed and that I brought bad luck to the village. One day, during a terrible drought, they blamed me for the dry land and dying crops. They dragged me to the river and threw me in, saying I must die to cleanse the village. Jack's chest tightened with anger. That's horrible, he said. How could they do that to you? You've done nothing but help people. Amiri smiled faintly. Fear makes people do terrible things, Jack. But the river saved me. It carried me far away to the place where you found me. That's why I can't use just any water. Only the waters of the sea, where you found me, keep me safe. If I bathe with any other water, I will lose this form and become what they feared, a true mermaid. Jack stared at her, his mind spinning. So you're not a mermaid yet? No, Amiri replied, not fully. I was given this form to survive, but it's fragile. The sea is my lifeline. Jack leaned forward, his eyes filled with wonder and concern. You've been through so much, Amiri, and yet you have chosen to help me and my family. Why? Amiri reached into a small pouch beside her and pulled out a bundle of herbs. Because I see the goodness in your heart, Jack. You saved me when you didn't have to, and I want to save you too. She handed the herbs to him. Boil these in clean water and give them to your daughter. It will heal her illness completely. Jack took the herbs with trembling hands. He couldn't believe it. You mean Precious will be healed? She won't need treatments anymore? Amiri nodded. Yes, the herbs are powerful. Use them wisely. Jack's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. He placed the herbs gently in his bag and looked at Amiri. I don't even know how to thank you. You've done so much for me, Amiri. He hesitated, his cheeks flushing. I think I've started to fall for you. Amiri's expression softened, but there was sadness in her eyes. Jack, she said gently, I feel the same. You've shown me kindness I thought I would never experience again. But you are married, and I cannot be the cause of any more pain. We must stay as friends. Jack nodded slowly, though his heart ached. I understand, he said. But please know that you mean so much to me. I will always protect you, no matter what. Unknown to them, Mabel had followed Jack that evening. She had been suspicious of his secret trips and decided to find out what he was hiding. She crouched outside the farmhouse, listening to every word. When she heard about Amiri's past, the herbs, and Jack's feelings, her mind raced with anger and jealousy. So this is the reason for his happiness, Mabel muttered to herself. That woman is stealing my husband. But Mabel didn't reveal herself. She quietly slipped away and returned home, pretending as if nothing had happened. When Jack came back later that night, Mabel greeted him with a fake smile. You're late again, she said sweetly, though her tone dripped with hidden anger. Jack, still thinking about Amiri's story, simply nodded. I had some things to take care of, he said, avoiding her eyes. Mabel didn't press him further. She was already forming a plan in her mind. She didn't care about the herbs or Precious's health. All she wanted was to expose Jack's secret and get rid of the mysterious woman who had stolen his heart. As Jack lay down to sleep that night, he felt a strange unease, though he couldn't explain why. Early in the morning, before the first light of dawn, Mabel woke up with a troubled heart. She couldn't stop thinking about Jack's happiness and the mysterious woman he had been hiding. The jealousy burning inside her wouldn't let her rest. Determined to do something about it, she decided to visit a native doctor for help. The walk to the native doctor's shrine was long and eerie. The thick bush and strange noises made her heart pound, but Mabel pressed on, fueled by anger and jealousy. When she finally arrived, the old native doctor was sitting on a wooden stool, surrounded by strange items: bones, feathers, bottles filled with colorful liquids, and a smoking pot of herbs. "What brings you here, woman?" the native doctor asked in a deep voice, his piercing eyes scanning her. Mabel knelt before him, lowering her voice. "There is a woman in my husband's life. She is powerful, and I want her gone." The native doctor rubbed his beard thoughtfully. "This woman you speak of, she is not an ordinary person. She has powers beyond your imagination. If you wish to defeat her, you will need my strongest charms. But be warned, this is not an easy task." "I will do anything," Mabel replied quickly. "Just tell me what I need to do." The native doctor's expression darkened. "First, you will need my protection. Before you can face her, without it, her power will destroy you. But this protection comes at a price. I must sleep with you to transfer the power." Mabel's eyes widened in shock. "What? That's not right." "Then leave," the native doctor said coldly, turning away. "You came to me for help. This is the price." Reluctantly, after a long pause, Mabel agreed. She felt disgusted and ashamed, but her jealousy was stronger than her guilt. After they were done, the native doctor gave her a bottle of charms and a special container of water. "This water is very important," he said. "Pour it on her, and it will strip her of her powers. But remember, if your husband kisses this woman before you succeed, the spell will break, and something terrible will happen to you." Mabel nodded, clutching the items tightly. "I understand. I will do as you say." With determination, she made her way to the farmhouse, ready to carry out her plan. But fate had other plans. When Mabel arrived, she stopped in her tracks, shocked by what she saw. Jack was already there, standing close to Amiri. Before she could call out or hide, Jack leaned forward and kissed Amiri gently. Mabel let out a loud scream, dropping the bottle of water and charms. At that moment, the spell broke, and the consequences of her actions hit her immediately. Mabel staggered backward, clutching her eyes. "I can't see. I can't see," she screamed, falling to the ground. Jack and Amiri turned to her in shock. "Mabel!" Jack shouted, running to her side. "What's happening to you?" Through her tears, Mabel began to confess everything. "It's my fault," she cried. "I went to the native doctor to destroy Amiri. He warned me, but I didn't listen. Now I'm blind." Jack stared at her in disbelief. "Why would you do such a thing, Mabel? Why?" Mabel sobbed harder, the guilt pouring out of her. "Because I was jealous. I thought you didn't love me anymore. I have been so foolish. I have done terrible things, Jack. I have slept with many men in the village, so many that I don't even know who fathered the children I aborted. I was ashamed, so I kept it a secret. I wanted to hurt you the way I felt hurt, but now I have ruined everything." Jack's heart filled with anger and disappointment. He stood up, his face cold and firm. "You've betrayed me, Mabel, and you've put our family in danger with your jealousy and lies. I can't forgive what you've done." He returned home, packed Mabel's belongings, and threw them out of the house. "Leave," he said firmly. "I won't have you in my home anymore. You've brought shame and pain to this family." Mabel begged for mercy, but Jack didn't change his mind. With nowhere to go and no one to turn to, Mabel left, blinded and filled with regret for her actions. Meanwhile, Jack returned to the farmhouse to see Amiri. She looked at him with concern. "Jack, are you all right?" Jack sighed, the weight of everything falling on his shoulders. "I'm fine now," he said, looking at her. "Thanks to you. You saved me and my family. I don't know how I can ever repay you." Amiri smiled gently. "You've done more for me than you realize, Jack. You gave me hope when I had none." Jack took the herbs Amiri had given him and prepared them for Precious. Within days, her health improved, and she grew stronger. She never fell sick again, and the joy in Jack's heart grew. Months later, after the storm of Mabel's betrayal had passed, Jack and Amiri grew closer. Their friendship turned into love, and Jack knew in his heart that Amiri was the one for him. They got married in a simple ceremony, surrounded by nature and the calm of the sea. Jack, Amiri, and Precious lived happily ever after, their lives filled with love, laughter, and peace. The village often whispered about the mysterious woman Jack married, but he didn't care. He knew he had found a treasure more valuable than any catch from the sea. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, on Innocent Stories. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching, and stay blessed, from Innocent Stories.